Right, hey up. Apologies for being a minute or two late. It's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to episode 53. Yes, episode 53 of Magnificent Mondays. And this week we're doing Sphere, starring Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, Samuel L. Jackson, Peter Coyote, and a few others. Queen Latifah, Liev Schreiber, however you pronounce it, and a couple of other people. Based on a Michael Crichton novel from 1998. The film is from 1998. Produced and directed, by Barry Levinson, who did Rain Man and some other films. With a cool musical score from Elliot Goldenthal. Had a budget of 73, well, we'll say 80. It says 73 to 80 million, we'll say $80 million. But it lost money at the box office because a lot of people didn't like it. But I like this film. It's a cool sci-fi film, but it's got a terrible ending. Apparently, it's more or less the same ending as in the book, so I can't blame the filmmakers. Anywho, Josh Temple's here already with his harpoon at the ready to get a giant squid, I hope, and maybe some jellyfish and I don't know, is it a garfish or whatever? I don't know what we see later on. And Windgrace is here saying, "Hey all!" Kind of low key for Windgrace. Never mind. And Sci-Fi Quest is here, of a spherical nature. Yes, lots of spherical stuff in this film. Well, one spherical thing. Right, before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. Join us in the live chat. I've said drop a comment, haven't I? We're live on YouTube. Yes, we are. We should be live on Rumble. Yes, we are. And we're live on Twitch. Yay. Again, I'll say it. Don't know why I keep doing Twitch. But anyway. Right, later on I'll upload it to Spotify and Amazon Music Podcasts. I'm also on Facebook, X and Instagram. Links in the description, as are the links to my two books. Just let me move these out of the way. Oh, for Pete's sake. Hey, dropping things. Where were I? As are links to my two books, Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action-adventure about UFOs and stuff. And Silent Predator, a short horror novella. You can see the difference. That's Silent Predator, that's Mercury Rapids. A short horror novella about genetically engineered big cats eating people in a North Yorkshire village. They've escaped, or were they allowed to escape, whatever, from a government lab. It's all a bit of fun. Give them a whirl. They're on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. That's what we're doing. Sphere. This is a DVD. I haven't got it on Blu-ray. This is the DVD, which I watched today twice. So I'm a bit late. Got a nice commentary on from mostly Samuel L. Jackson, but Dustin Hoffman interjects. Sci-Fi Quest says, if you could make a film based on Abyss, Sequest DSV, and Event Horizon, what would it be like? Kind of like Sphere, to be completely honest. And Dretch Tiger's here, saying, yo! Right, what else? Oh, right. I've also got a Patreon page. There it is. There's my Patreon page, where I add things from time to time. I put my Friday night appointment with Fears up there. They're available for everybody to see, the public. But I also add stuff for paid members, like in Magical Monochrome and what else? Oh, stuff like that. My list videos, a lot of people don't like, but what the heck. You see them early on Patreon. But anyway. I've also got a merch store, so there that is. Links in the description for all this stuff. Where you can get caps and t-shirts and cups and all that stuff. My Bloody Hell Lara and Friday Night Appointment with Fear and my stupid cartoon face, etc. So there we go. That's the plug-in out of the way. Right, let's get on with the film. Get rid of those. As usual, we'll not just be watching the film because, I'll get into trouble. Although I've seen a lot of people doing like watch parties, having the video on, but covered up or distorted in some way. So I don't know. But anyway, I don't think I'll start doing that because it'll all go wrong for me. So anyway, I'll be watching it in a series of stills. Try and remember what I've learned about it. I do have a list of trivia things. For instance, while this movie was held up in production, obviously some production delays, director Barry Levinson was able to make another film with Dustin Hoffman in the interim, Wag the Dog, 1997, which is a really good film. A really good film. It's essentially about the Clintons, isn't it? But we're not allowed to say that. They shot that one in 28 days. Right. My mug and shirt was supposed to arrive last Friday, but they didn't. They had in a warehouse somewhere. Oh, typical. Unbelievable. Well, the T-shirt that I got, your Sci-Fi Quest T-shirt, that arrived. So I should be wearing that really, shouldn't I? But I forgot. I don't even wear my own stuff, never mind other people's. Right, let's go on with this film. I'll make myself titchy tiny, but first I've got to get rid of them. There we go. And down I go into the corner. There we go. Right. Add to screen. Right, we're off. I bet I forgot to mute it. I think I have, yes I have. Right, off we go. By the way, this was the first film to feature, there we go, the as it was then, the new CGI Warner Brothers logo. This was the first film to feature that. So, a bit of trivia there. Right, we begin. Quite a long credit sequence, to be completely honest. Where we see images of sea monsters and deep sea creatures and stuff like that. There we go, with lots of sphere motifs. But let's just sphere through these. There we go, more sea monsters. Queen Latifah, Liev Schreiber. Is that pronounced Marge? I don't know. Or Marja. Gomez. Elliot Goldenthal did music. Jeffrey Oaken, visual effects supervisor, who did stuff like Independence Day and loads of other films. They even named the character, the Brent Spiner character, Oaken, Dr. Oaken, after Jeffrey Oaken. Warner Brothers isn't doing too well, poor guys. I don't see many of the studios are doing very well these days, does it? Paramount, Warner Brothers. Disney's got its own problems, although it's kind of pulling out a bit now, thanks to Deadpool, with a little bit of help from Inside Out. Anyway, right, come on, get on with this. There we go. Based on the novel by Michael Crichton, which I've obviously not read, but I've looked it up. Oh dear. Right, off we go. Right, we begin. We see a helicopter. There we go. Uncredited chap flying this helicopter. As you see over the sea, there's Dustin Hoffman as, I forgot the name of the characters. Norman Goldman. I'm going to have to check. I've forgotten. Oh, it just says Norman there. Unbelievable. Thanks, IMDb. Cast. Where are you? Yeah, Goodman. Norman Goodman. They were called Norman Johnson in the book. I don't know how they changed the name. Maybe they wanted him to be Jewish, because Goodman's like a Jewish name, but I don't know, because in the film he says he's atheist, so whatever. Anyway, right, so there he is asleep, and then we see meet the pilot. Here he is in a minute. There he is, there's the pilot of the helicopter. It's Huey Lewis. Yes, that Huey Lewis. In an uncredited role as a helicopter pilot. I could have sworn I had this like Mandela effect that he was a pilot, one of the helicopter pilots in Deep Blue Sea, or some other sea film, but I looked it up and he's not. So there we go. Right, so anyway, they're flying him out. We learn that Norman is a psychologist that the FAA have on their books to deal with plane crashes. He thinks he's been ferried out to a plane crash to help the survivors of the crash deal with the trauma. The pilot's like kind of says, oh, whatever, but then it means that they've been ferrying out, they're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, by the way, that they've been ferrying out lots of different sorts of scientists. There you go, physicists, biologists, mathematicians, you name it. But then when we get there, there's only one of each. Never mind. But he can suggest that they've been doing lots of them. But when we get there, there's only one. Maybe the rest of them have gone back. Maybe they weren't good enough. Hope he brought along the sports and weather. See, that's probably a reference I have no idea about. Is that a Huey Lewis song? I don't know. Windgrace is the master of obscure references. Well, they are to me anyway. But I'm thick. So anyway. Right, so off we go. There, he they hand him some binoculars. He puts his glasses on to have a look, and then he hands him some binoculars, so he takes his glasses off immediately. So anyway, and there we go. We see, and we're looking through these binocs. Go on, show us. There we go. And we see that There's lots of ships there. Is it going to give us a wide shot? I thought there were a... Hang on. Go back again. There we go. There we go. A wider shot. Lots of ships there. I think the only real ships in this shot, I think maybe that one, or maybe it's just them two. It could actually just be them two, and all the rest are CG. So there we go. Right, so they're flying. They're obviously going to land on this one, because that's got a helicopter pad on. I don't know what all these other ships are. I don't know. They all look like warships, do they? Just like random ships that are there. But anyway, there we go. The surface, it's split up into chapters. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Hugh Willis and the news, sports and weather. Oh, right, okay. See, it's too. You know, what's the word? Sidebar or whatever for me. Oh dear. I can't think laterally. That's it. I'm an idiot. I think I'm a bit autistic, to be honest. I think that might be where my son gets it from. Like I say, some stuff just goes over my head, and I have to have it explained to me. Anyway, there we go. It's in chapters, right? The surface. Off we go. Right. So they're on the ship, and he's getting cross. Is Norman, because he says, I've got to meet the survivors, and the 24 hours. I've got to talk to them and help them through this trauma and all that. And they're all saying, what are you talking about? So this is where we learn there is no plane crash. It's something else. And then he sees Liev Schreiber, who plays Ted. I don't know his full name. Let's have a look. What does it say on there? Ted Fielding, who is an astrophysicist. Wingray says, I think I'm autistic for making random connections out of everything. Oh dear. Quite possibly. Let's all be autistic. Oh dear. Where were we? So anyway, he's freaking out as well. He's Ted, because they're keeping him cooped up for some reason, for secrecy, because it's all a secret. And then he sees Sharon Stone as Beth Halperin, who is a biologist. There she is. And they obviously all know each other, because we learn why they're all there. So anyway, apparently he sits in this in his cabin for 3 hours, and then Peter Coyote comes. There he is, Peter Coyote. What have I seen him in? Were he in E.T.? Were it Peter Coyote in E.T. or was it somebody else? Pardon me. I know he's been in a million things, but what do I know him particularly from? Yes, he was in E.T., yes. Well, and Jagged Edge, yes. Yes, but everybody knows him as the Keys. He had the keys, didn't he, in E.T. Savaquist says, every time I watch Sphere, I think I'd rather watch Deep Star 6. To be honest, so would I. I mean, I like Sphere, that's why I've picked it and I'm putting it on. It is one of my favourite films, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure. But I probably enjoy Deep Star 6 more, because it's a bit loonier, isn't it? Henway. What's a hen weigh? About £4. Anyway, whatever. Right, so there he is. He's in charge, by the way. He plays Harold Barnes, I think. Am I remembering that? Yes, Captain Harold Barnes. There we go. I can remember the name. So he's in charge. So we learn that they're gonna take him in as a mini sub. So they're gonna go down to where the plane crashes. There's still telling me, I'm here to see the plane crash. That's my job. And he says there isn't a plane crash. Spacecraft is told. So he thinks, NASA. That's why there's all the secrecy. So, but anyway, there we go. Then he said, let's go back again. There we go. Secrecy is critical. You've made that explicit in your report. And the word report hangs in the air for a moment. And then he goes, what report? And he, says, the report you did on the ULF, unknown life forms, we learn that means. And he says, I wrote that for the Bush administration. And then we learn later on in the film that it was a bogus report he did. The government came along, offered him $35,000 to write a report on what, the government or whatever would do in the event of contact with alien life. And he wrote this report, just rattled it off, give it to him. Sort of suggested other scientists that he knew, to be gathered together to investigate it. So, and that's what's happened. He never thought it had ever come to pass. Anywho, Sci-Fi Quest says, I'm now digesting some cream of leek soup and homemade bread. Yum. Very nice. I don't think I've ever had leek soup. I don't think, but it sounds nice. Sounds nice. Right. So, here we go. We're learning that this ship was laying fibre optic cable across the Pacific, and something cut the cable. Don't really explain how, but so they sent out a ship, and they used sonar, and they saw this at the bottom of the sea. There we go, a big tail fin that's as big as a football field, and the spacecraft itself is half a mile long. Unfortunately, we never get a really good look at it. I've looked online to see if there's like a model of it that they made for the film, but I can't find it. Anyway, so we never really get a good look, because it's supposed to be buried in coral. There we go, 8 yards of coral it's buried in. So we never get a good look at the rest of it. We just see the tail fin, and we see some engines and stuff. That's about it. Leak? I'm not detecting any leak. Don't you people in the 21st century ever pee? Dear. So I don't really know what it looks like, to be honest. I don't know if they did a full model of it. I thought there might have been some concept art, but I didn't find anything. Anyway, never mind. Anyway, it's buried under 8 yards of coral. And then Sharon Stone says, "Oh, that's impossible. Cause if it's a spaceship, the coral grows at a fixed rate. You can set your watch to it, which means it's been there for nearly 300 years. So they're all confused. There's Samuel L. Jackson. He plays Harry. What's Harry's last name? You know what? I've no idea. Harry Adams. I don't think they ever mention it in the film. But anyway. Harry Adams. He's the mathematician and a bit of a smart ass. Quick with the one-liners and quips, because it's Samuel L. Jackson. And he's got his bald head. This might be the first time we've seen him with a bald head in film. Because he was saying, the film before he did this, he mentioned what it was, but I can't remember what it was. But he shaved the middle of his head, and because he had to have male pattern baldness or whatever, and he'd have hair at the side. And he thought, well, for this film, so instead of getting a wig or, they didn't have time to grow it back, he just shaved it all off. And he really liked it, because he says, it took 15 years off me. So he kept it like that. So that's why we see him with the bald head from now on. Anyway, Wingresh says, don't make fun of the Russians. They won gold in every single event at their fake mock Olympics. Anywho. Right, that's when it's supposed to have crashed, 1709. There you go. That's impossible. But there you go. It's not impossible if this spacecraft came from an alien civilization. They should have given him some keys, shouldn't they, for this, to make out it's the same man from E.T., but never mind. There you go. They think this is an alien spaceship. There you go. Unknown life form from Harry's report. This explains why they need the people here. Mathematician, because they'll understand they'll have common language is mathematics, a bit like in Contact. An astrophysicist to show its place in the universe, a biologist, because biology. And a psychologist because he wrote the report, I suppose, but anyway. And then he quips, nowadays little green men say take me to your therapist, and they all have a laugh about that. There you go. Right, so anyway, so he's reading from Harry's report, which we learn is bogus, but they're saying how big it is, and then they're finding that they found out that there's something working inside, a low-level hum, so there's something operating inside the ship. So they're going to go in. Apparently, I think it said, does it say Marines or I don't know? The Navy chaps have been setting up like an airlock and all that stuff. So they're going to go and check it out. So, they're going to go and train them in using underwater suits and that. What they call them? Wetsuits. Dry suits, whatever they call them, I don't know, but anyway. And then we're having a little they're doing like a medical thing. He's saying, "Oh, I don't really need my glasses." So we don't see my glasses on for the rest of the film. She's talking about she doesn't take medication, blah blah blah. He's talking about his knee surgery. He's got pins in his knees because of that ACL, and apparently that's real. That because Samuel L. Jackson really has got metal pins in his knees, or one of his knees. There you go, like that. Right, all right, and now Norman speaks to Harry, and he's apologising because he's saying it's a bogus report, and that's why he put their names on because they knew him. He's known Ted for years, and he knew Beth because she was his patient at one point, and also a love interest back in the day. And all his friends with, and must be friends with Harry. So that's why he put the names on, because he never thought it had come to anything. He just wanted the $35,000. He said it put me, it was a down payment on my house. There you go, paid the down payment on his house. So he never thought it had come to anything, but it has. So if the government ever comes to you and says, write us a report on, this, that, or the other, here's, X $1,000, it's a good, have it as out of the ordinary as possible, because it'll never happen. But he thought that as well, didn't he? But anyway, Wingray says, I don't have high hopes for my knees when I get older. My knees are bloody terrible. In fact, everything on me is bloody terrible these days. Doesn't really need his glasses. Why was he bloody wearing them at the start? Is he Daniel Jackson? Well, I think the suggestion was that they didn't want him to wear glasses. So he was like, I think he just assumed that he couldn't take his glasses with him. So he was saying, I don't really need them, just for reading. Just for reading. But so that's why he doesn't take them. Obviously Norman, he's got his. Because they did ask Norman about his glasses as well. And he says, I've just got them. But they didn't tell him, to hand them over. So anyway. So there we go. Because there's a scene later on where he sees Norman with his glasses on. He says, oh, did they let you keep them? Maybe he was just jumping to conclusions, I think, which does happen a bit in this film. Anyway. But yes, he thinks it's Daniel Jackson. That looks a little bit like Daniel Jackson, doesn't it? The Michael Shanks version. Anyway. Did he really need his glasses? Or did he wear contact lenses? I don't know. But take my glasses off, I'm blind as a bat. Everything's blurry for me. Anyway, right, so, here he goes, isn't he tiny? Dustin Hoffman's tiny, isn't he? He's actually shorter than Sharon Stone, if you watch him in the thing, and he has this little walk, doesn't he? Let's say he's like Rain Man, isn't he? Oh, dear. Right, now, this is some Navy chap, played by, I'll tell you in a minute, I've forgotten his name, James Pickens Jr., I don't think he'd be related to Slim Pickens, OSSA instructor. I don't know what OSSA stands for. It might tell us in the film, but I don't know. Does it say in here? OSSA. Bit something like Oceanic something. I don't know. Does it tell us? It doesn't tell us, no. Never mind. I'll look it up and see if it's a real organisation. OSSA. Acronym. No, it hasn't. Organisational System Security Analyst. I don't think it's that one, is it? No, I think it's a made-up thing. I'll tell you. Sphere. I'll put Sphere OSSA acronym. Right, here we go. Office of Space Science and Applications. Oh, right. Right, fair enough. Is that right? Does it say? Sorry, I've just found on Prop Store you can get an OSSA notepad from Sphere. $195. Bloody hell. But it doesn't say what it stands for in that. Never mind. Anyway, whatever. Never mind. I'm waffling, aren't I? babbling, so to speak. Operation Specialist Seaman Apprentice. I don't think it's that either. Only serious scientists apply. That's what it stands for. Anyway, so he's telling them all about what they're going to do. They're going to go diving down, and they'll go down in the mini sub, and then they'll spend X amount of time compressing or not decompressing, getting acclimatizing to the pressure and all that stuff. And then if they need to come back up, they'll have to spend 2 days decompressing. So if they come back to the surface, there's got to be a ship there with a decompression chamber, or they'll just explode. Anyway, so there we go. Apparently this scene, that they had actually a chap that was an expert on this stuff, but apparently he wasn't very good. So they brought in a proper actor to do it. And they said that recreated, because they just refilmed his scenes and recreated, the office that they're all sitting in, because it shows them. Recreated the office, so when you see those, it's actually in a different place, on a different set to them. So there we go. Anyway, right, so off they go. What's it going to tell us now? We're going to have there we go. The Deep, which is a book and a film by Peter Benchley, isn't it? Who were in the deep now? I've forgotten. Jacqueline Bisset and somebody else who I can't remember. Never mind. This movie was just a psyop to prepare us for Ocean Gate last year. What was Ocean Gate? I missed that one. Decompressed, yes, it is. Well, and also to stop you exploding. We all know in The Abyss, Michael Biehn got nitrogen narcosis, didn't he? Anyway, The Deep, which is an aquarium in Hull, which is about, 60 miles from me. That was the sub with all the, yes, of course, yes, that went down to the Titanic, yes, that one, yes, or was going to go down to the Titanic, yes, and it all went wrong, yes, I'd forgot about that. Anyway, right, they're getting in the sub, so here we go, they're all getting ready to go. So what's that say? 13 minutes, descending at 80 feet a minute, so down they go. There we go. That's nice effects. I must admit, there are nice effects in this film. Some models, some CG. Right, so down they go. Obviously, they're all nervous because they've not done anything like this before. We learned that they're entering a river, a difference in salination, so it flows like a river through the ocean. So he's saying, so we're under the ocean, going through a river that's under the ocean. So, he's amazed. There we go, they're all nervous. They hear creaking and groaning. Those noises of the water pressure attacking the sub's integrity. And then Beth has a dig at Norman, saying, Norman knows all about integrity. So, there we go. So Samuel L. Jackson has a look, because apparently that were ad-libbed. What's the word? What's the word for ad-libbed? My brain stopped working as usual. Anyway, that word. It were ad-libbed. So he's looking, thinking, she wasn't supposed to say that. So there we go. So we know that they've had a troubled past. Everyone knows the Xbox controller battery ran out. Or did the Borg Queen eat the battery? Well, if there's acid in, she eats it, doesn't she? Right, so they get the first look at the spaceship. Here it is. There they go. They're going down. They see the tail fin. Down they go. So it was from, I think, come have a listen to the cool music from Elliot Golden. Is it going to play it? All very dramatic. Right, so they're going to head to the habitat. There we go. Get another look. Obviously, the Navy's been in there and set up this habitat and put all lights and stuff on the ship. There we see some of its presume they're engines, but that's all we see. We see the tail fin, these engines, and that's about it really. And why didn't they do a full model of it, or at least a concept art? Anyway, maybe there is. I just didn't find it. I found the model for this, on my search, but not for the spaceship. Right, here we go, the docking. So, in they go. Lots of displays and lots of hatches and there's a bit later on in an action scene with the red valve thing. Anyway, right. So here you go. They've arrived and they're getting in an elevator now. This is a humorous scene because they're in. I say an elevator. It's some sort of decon chamber or something, or to get them used to the atmosphere in there because it's oxygen mixed with other stuff as well, but helium as well. So they all get squeaky voices. So we'll have a listen to that because that's funny.
Family is fluorine and chlorine. Hydrochloric acid, hydrofluoric acid. Essentially, that's why we're breathing helium down here, because...
There we go. And they all have a good laugh at it. And Samuel L. Jackson says, "Follow the Ellerbick Road." So there we go. And then, but we learn, because they're breathing helium, they'd speak like that, all the time that the film would be going on. So they've got vocal things, necklaces that they wear that make their voices normal. Which sounds a bit daft to me, but anyway. So there we go. So they've got so you'll see them all wearing these necklaces all through this film. Here's the Navy chaps doing their stuff. They're gonna leave in the submarine in a bit. Right. It's Samuel L. Jackson's talking about the door. They found a hatch, or a doorway into the ship. That's where they put the airlock. And I think it's Ted that notices that it looks about the same size as one of our aircraft doors. So he says, that's interesting, which I suppose it is. And Samuel L. Jackson's saying, should we be opening this door at all? Because they might want to destroy us and all that stuff. But anyway, he's always wanting not to do things just in case. Anywho, but they're still curious. They've got to open the door. Oh, there's the Navy crew are leaving now, so there's just going to be our three main stars: Peter Coyote and two others left: Queen Latifah and somebody else, another woman. You'd think they'd have lots of people there, wouldn't they? But for some reason they haven't. But anyway, right. So they're going to go there. See, they're suiting up and getting ready to go. In the film, a few times they put these suits on by themselves, and but apparently that's impossible. Samuel L. Jackson was saying, and Dustin Hoffman said it as well in the commentary, that you need like 2 or 3 people to help you put them on. It's impossible to do it by yourself. But in the film they do it. Right. So I'm going to get another. There we go. The spacecraft. So off they go. There we go. They're off for a walk across the seabed. Apparently, it was filmed in tanks. They had the two. Where were it filmed? Hang on, I've got it in me. Where are we? The Mare Island Naval Yard. So I'm guessing that's where it was filmed. I think. Yes. Vallejo, California. I did hear. Samuel L. Jackson mentioned Vallejo, so it might have been there. Yes, it is. Mare Island Naval Yard, Vallejo, California. Yes, it is. That's where they had the big tanks that they filmed. They said they were about 20 feet deep in water. They built sets under the water, and the 2 tanks. I think one that they used for like practicing and rehearsing in, and one for filming in. Navy Deep Sea Diver Training Centre. I've no idea, but it says it's Says it's Mare Island Naval Yard, so maybe it is, I don't know. But anyway, that's where it was filmed. It had 2 tanks. But on his off days, Samuel L. Jackson just went to play golf. Apparently he's really into golf. And anyway, the suits that they were wearing, he said they had £50 weights in the boots, and the packs weighed £90, and the helmets weighed, I don't know, X amount of pounds. He said basically, when you went under the water, it was like carrying another person about with you. But he said once you're in the water, you know, it were cool. He said it were like being weightless. He said. Anyway, so off they go. And they said the suits were really comfortable. Samuel L. Jackson and Peter Coyote both fell asleep sometimes while they were waiting about in the suits. And Peter Coyote, like coolly said, you know, if I'm going to drown, somebody will come and wake me up. But the suits weren't infallible. Of course, one of them, the valve on one of them for Dustin Hoffman. No, that was something else. No, I'm thinking of something else. No, the suits might have been fine, but sometimes they were rushed. And Dustin Hoffman says in one particular incident, he never trusted, going underwater in these again because they didn't put his helmet on properly, and sent him into the water. Said, "You're fine, go in." And then suddenly water started squirting into his suit, and he panicked. And apparently they didn't put his helmet on properly. But anywho. Right, off they go, across the bottom of the seabed, heading to the airlock. There we go, get another look at the tail fin. There it is. Look at the size of that thing. Cut it out, Red 2, or cut the chatter, Red 2. Right, so here we go. They're heading in. Right, so heading to the airlock, so they're going to drain the water out so that they're in... They're not in water anymore, so all that weight, which they do mention in a bit. For some reason, she mentions sea snakes, or poisonous sea snakes in this part, which and does get come back to us later on. Anyway, right, they're getting in the airlock, draining the water out. Here we go. Right, so they're going to go and try and get in. There's Queen Latifah watching. She plays, I'll tell you in a minute, Teeny is a nickname, Alice Teeny Fletcher. Oh, crack, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, dear. And the other person on board is Marga Gomez, I don't know how you pronounce it, as Jane Edmonds. But I don't think we've seen her yet. Right, so, I'm going to try and get in. That's some sort of device there, like a malp that we're trying to get in, but it mustn't have been working. So Ted decides he's going to get them in. Time for a demonstration of basic physics. He's basically going to chisel his way in. Anyway, so as we see, hang on. There we go. He went to bash it with his hammer and a chisel. And then Samuel L. Jackson mentioned, "Hey, hang on, how come you've chipped it?" And he says, "You said this were made from some exotic metal that were impervious, and how did it survive the crash?" And then they suggest that maybe it didn't crash, maybe it landed. Don't know. I don't think it's ever confirmed what happened to it. That Queen Latifah Equalizer series were crap. I never saw it. Not made for me. Anyway, then the door just suddenly opens. Don't know why. It just does. Doesn't explain why it opens. It just does. Maybe it just sensed their presence, but why didn't it sense the presence of the other people? I don't know, because it just opens up. There we go. As if by magic, nobody touched anything. It's not explained. So, anyway, so in they go. And he says we're keeping his helmets on because we don't know if we can breathe in there. There is a lot of radiation shielding, etc. And they decide to split up and search for clues. And by the way, she notices there's footprints there. But she says footsteps. She doesn't actually say footsteps. No, somebody's been here. There's footsteps. Does she mean footprints? Anyway, never mind. And they ain't ours. It's obviously a biped that wore boots like humans wear. So they didn't say that. I'd have said that, but anyway. So this is where they split up and search for clues. Split up. So Norman and Beth are going one way, and Harry, Ted, and Harold are heading another way. And now he tells Beth, all about his bogus report. He's owning up to her. So I've told Harry this, and I'm telling you this bogus report I did. It says I didn't make it all up. I made half of it up, and the rest of it, I did research, and then the rest of it I looked like the works of Isaac Asimov and Rod Serling. There we go. But I've seen a few other things describe footsteps as footprints. I wonder if it's a dumb regional thing. It could be. Or reverse that. Yeah, well, I know what you were getting at. Maybe it is. Because footsteps is footsteps. I imagine footsteps is an audible thing for me. You can hear footsteps, but footprints are a visual thing. But that's how I think of it. But anyway, who? Right, so he's told her that, and then suddenly, oh look, they're on an elevator, an express elevator to hell, going up. There we go, up they go, and they end up at the bridge, and they find a person on the bridge. I think it's the only body they find. I think, but they do mention there should have been other people, but it's the only one we see, as far as I know. But they're up on the bridge. The others are there, admiring this material that's super tough, but but light. But anyway, and then they're talking about their PhDs that they got from MIT, and we learned that Samuel L. Jackson got his at 18, and he beat his first PhD at 18, and he beat Ted by a year. He got his first at 19. Blah blah. So willy measuring going on. Anyway, there we go. So, and then he notices this trash basura, which I think is Spanish, isn't it, for trash? So, what? Was it a joint American, Spanish, American, Mexican flight? I don't know, but they've got trash basura. They just say, "Oh, look, it says that trash basura." And I'm thinking, hang on, if this is an alien ship, why are they using our alphabet? But obviously it's not an alien ship, is it? Yes, a PhD measuring content with emphasis on D. So there we go. So and then they find the pilot or a crew person sitting in the pilot's chair. She says he's human, and Dustin Hoffman says humanoid. On humanoid, that Dustin Hoffman voice. He says no, it's human, because you can just tell, without an autopsy or whatever, But anyway, but we learn he's been bashed on his head. So there must be others about, but I don't think we see them. I could be wrong, but do we? I'm pressing the wrong button. I don't think we see any others, but I could be wrong. So they have a poke about and have a look round. There we go, blunt force trauma. So who killed him? Don't know. And he's got something in his hand. There we go. Blue diamond almonds. Smokehouse almonds. There we go. So another clue. It's an American ship. There we go. It can't be an American spaceship. So 300 years ago there wasn't even Americans. Well, there were, but not from the United States of America. But so that's a mystery. So obviously it's travelled back in time somehow. Klaatu. Is it Barata or Verata? I know I've seen it both ways. I always thought it was Barata with a B. Klaatu, Barata, Nikto. I'm sure it's with a B. But I'm sure in Army of Darkness, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 3, he says Verata, doesn't he? I think. Anyway, whatever. Right, so there we go. So it's something's happened. So anyway, so suddenly a display lights up. There we go. A display lights up. She says it's all in English. Not English and Spanish for some reason. It's just all in English. But the rubbish bin's got Spanish on as well. I don't know, but anyway. So she goes into the logs. Speaking of Evil Dead, the animated sequel is coming. Yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah. Because he's willing. He's not willing, is it? Bruce Campbell is not willing to do a live action Ash again. I think he thinks he's too old now, doesn't he? But he's willing to to voice Ash in it. So that'd be cool. Anyway, she's going to access the flight recorders. We see there, flight records. So she's going to check that. What else has it got? Deck control, life systems. I'm reading backwards here. Chair release. What does that say? LSS, pardon me, test 1.0, whatever that is. Core operations. So anyway, so she's going to, hang on, where are we? So she's going to set that off going, and they're looking at flight data summaries. We've seen all these dates, and when did the ship launch then? So, because maybe see like 0002, stuff's obviously happened on these dates. And they seem to suggest, because we see another in a minute, as we go later on, there we go, 43. And they suggest it's like 2043. So did did it launch in like the year 2000 or something? Which is not long, is it? I mean, it's only like 2 years after this film came out. But they seem to suggest 2043. Maybe it's 2143. We don't know, do we? I think that's more likely, to be honest. Would the English language not evolve in hundreds of years in the future? I'm sure it would. But I'm sure we'd figure it out, wouldn't we? Anyway, probably all in Chinese hundreds of years. It'd be like, it'd be more like Firefly, because they use a lot of Chinese in that, don't they? Anyway, maybe those are all time periods it was meant to visit. I don't think it's a time machine though, but we're going to find out. Anyway, but see, there we go. On the 21st of June, because you've got your dates the wrong way around, because you're Americans. An unknown entry event. So there we go. Just 21st of June. That's round about the summer solstice, isn't it? But anyway, in 2043, 2143, whatever. Could be 3143 for all we know. Don't know. Something happens. So she said, press it. So she presses it to see what happens, and then it all kicks off. Here we go. Now I'm going to press it. There we go. We see some sort of holographic representation of what happened. Yes, could be 3043. Could be. There we go. Flying through some sort of debris field or rings. There it is. It is rings of a planet. A representation of the ship's journey. They go through some sort of nebula. There we go. And they come across, there it is, a black hole. A proper black hole. Not these silly ones like you see in Interstellar and that. A proper black hole. With an accretion disk and an event horizon. And a jet of gases. But as you can see, the ship is obviously getting pulled into the black hole. Or maybe it's flying in deliberately, I don't know. But something happens, and it goes into the Stargate. That's all this, I thought. Bloody hell. They're going to Abydos. But that's as far as it goes. It doesn't go through all the tunnel and all that. So obviously it's gone through a black hole and come out, 300 years-ish. If it's 2043, we'll say 300 years in the past, or thereabouts. Bold of you to assume we'll have a future beyond 5 years. Well, this is it. Well, we've got to be optimistic, Yeah. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Right, so they found out that it's an Earth ship that's gone back in time. Then they got on the radio. Barnes comes on the radio and says, "Look, we've found something." So they go down to where they found it. They've got this sphere and said, "This must be what the ship were for." I don't know how they come. Maybe we're in the logs. I don't know, but they said to go out and find stuff like this. So what it's supposed to go, and it found this sphere, this alien sphere. I presume it's alien, and it just accidentally went back in time because it went, through the black hole, and and all that stuff. I don't know. Wasn't that a pulsar and a wormhole? As a black hole is basically a dark star. Well, I don't know. No, not necessarily. No. Didn't really see it pulsing, did we? So a black hole is, that's it. Essentially, you can't see a black hole, can you? Because that's why it's called a black hole. It's black, isn't it? So all you can see is its effects on space around it, can't you? Which is why the modern interpretation is just bending light around it, isn't it? Which is why we just see all these light effects around it. But I like the old-fashioned one where it looks like a plug hole, like you saw in the film The Black Hole. That's a proper black hole for me. With material, spiralling into it. That's how I like to visualise it. Maybe it's one of those Star Trek planets that just happen to evolve exactly like Earth. Yes. Oh, I forgot to call it now. Something, Hodgkin's Law of Parallel Development. Something like that, wasn't it? Something like that. They even had the same continents. Anyway. Right, so they found the sphere, which in the original script, and I think in the book as well, is described as silver. It's a silver sphere. But they found that if they made it silver, Jeffrey Oaken was said it's just a big ball bearing, a big silver ball bearing, and they did tests and stuff, and it was just essentially just reflecting black. It were rubbish. So that to put all dimples and stuff on it to make it interesting, but it still didn't work properly. So they eventually made it champagne gold. They took their inspiration. It's essentially they call it champagne gold, but it's the same gold colour. From the LEM, the gold stuff, the gold foil that we used on the lunar module and the Apollo missions. That's what they did. But they're all describing it as if they're seeing a silver sphere. If you listen to the dialogue, because one of them says it looks like Mercury. And I thought, well, Mercury's not gold, is it? But anyway, so there we go. Right, so they're all having a look, and they're all interested, and they're saying, "Wow, what is it?" And then Dustin Hoffman notes, they're all saying, "There's no way to get into it." Why would they be trying to get into it? I don't know. They don't even know what it is, but saying there's no doors. Why would they assume there's a door in it? But anyway. Allegedly. In the vastness of the universe, life forms evolving identical to humans is possible. Well, yeah, anything's possible, isn't it? Anything's possible. If you have a planet that, is similar to Earth, or more or less, identical, an M-class planet, let's say, chances are you would get, humanoid life, wouldn't you, at some point? 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. Might not look exactly like us. They'd have bumpy foreheads, wouldn't they? Anyway, what was I saying now? Oh, right, Dustin Hoffman notes, I've noticed that it's reflecting everything but us. And he says, I don't want to be the only non-scientist to notice this, but they do notice that it's reflecting everything but them. And I don't know if he's touching it there. I think he's nearly touching it, but not quite. But there we go. The analysis. So they're all heading back now. Here we see they've got lots of food, rice and stuff. This is relevant for later. They're stocked up with food. They're bringing out cupcakes and all sorts of stuff. And so they're wondering, what's going on. If it's supposed to be, super strong, how did it chip? And why did the door open? And how did it come back? How did it travel through time and all that stuff? Basically, they don't know. Think about the fact we only exist because a rock hit the Earth, changing the climate, killing the dinosaurs. Pretty much. The it'd have been the Voth in charge, wouldn't it? Now, if the Chicxulub incident hadn't happened, or would it? I don't know. Or if you're into Doctor Who, it was that spaceship that crashed, wasn't it? In I forgot to call it now. that Cybermen episode. Earth Shock, that's it. That one. But that rock was only because of Q. Did Q cause that? I must have missed that one. Or not noticed it. Anyway, they go, inadvertently flew into a black hole. But they go, it has to be 2043, 2047. I never saw 2047, but why does it have to be? Why not 21 or 22 or 30 or whatever? Some other date. Could be anything, couldn't it? But anyway. So, we get a transmission that there's a storm coming. There we go, and so they've got to evacuate or remain there for the duration of the storm. So they're all happy that they're going to go, apart from Ted. They all want to leave because none of them want to be there, apart from Ted, who's saying this is amazing. We can't leave now. So, but there you go. They're pulling us out. But anyway, so I think they've a couple of hours or whatever to get ready. And I think 9:30. That's it. So the one more night there, and then they're pulling them out in the morning. Because the logo on the almonds would change more that far into the future. Okay. You mean that it had to be 2043? Yeah. Well, maybe it would. Maybe I don't know. I've never even seen those almonds before. Why could it have been a Snickers or something like that? Something that's worldwide. Anyway, it should have been a bloody Twinkie, shouldn't it? If they want to be all American. Could be an entirely new calendar starting after a disaster that could even be 0043. Yes, for all we know. It could be anything, couldn't it? Could be like, could be June. It could be from the year 10,043. After the Butlerian Jihad. Whatever. Anyway. So there we go. They're all happy about going back. Apart from Ted, who wants to hang about. But, they get to see Samuel L. Jackson's bum. Because he's having a shower. But, anyway. So Samuel L. Jackson decides they can see the necklace that they wear, so the voice says, "Aren't they like that?" AT-43 after Trump. BBY. I hate that thing in Star Wars when they use them dates. Why? Why set that? Why use that? I know it's. I don't know. It's to do with Battle of Yavin and that, but why make that the official dating thing for Star Wars? It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, whatever. I keep saying that, don't I? Never mind. Alright, he's saying he wants to go inside the sphere. And he says, "How are you going to get in? There's no doors or seams." Because and then he suddenly just says he thinks it's alive. And he explains why. And I forgot why. I forgot what he says. But, he says it's alive. And he says because it can obviously decide what it wants to reflect back. Because they weren't reflected in it. The rest of the room were reflected in it, but they weren't. So it's obviously alive, he thinks, because it can decide, it chooses what to reflect. It could be an AI for all we know, but this one 1998, I suppose. It's the same as ADBC. Yeah, I suppose. But why would they pick the Battle of Yavin to be their 0 point, even though they're into 0, but for their calendar. At least the Battle of Yavin happened in Star Wars. Anyway, whatever. Again, saying that word. Right, they're getting ready for bed. And then Samuel L. Jackson suddenly says, "We're going to die down here, And Norman says, "Pardon?" And he says, "We're going to die down here because obviously if it's come back from the past, back from the future, so to speak, we found the ship, and obviously we would go back to the surface and tell everybody about it and how that we can time travel and all this stuff and how to do it in black holes, etc. And we tell them on the date and all that. and we tell them we know all about it. So how come when we looked at it, it said in the computer unknown entry event? So that just shows that we're going to die down here because we never went to tell anybody about it, which is logical deduction. Anyway, could choose 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Well, we're going to see that later. That book. Back from the Future sounds like an asylum time travel mockbuster. Yes, it does. I bet they've done it. So there we go. So he says they're gonna die. There we go. We die down here. Right then. Suddenly there's alarms going off. There's a fade to black. The alarms are going off. Norman jumps out of bed, and he's saying, "Where's Harold?" And Queen Latifah tells him, "Mr. Barnes in the video feed room," and he says, "I don't know where that is," but he finds it. And then we learn that Harry's gone. He's put a suit on and he's headed out to the sphere. So here we see him, because they'd set cameras up, by the way. They'd set a camera up to keep an eye on the sphere. So we see Harry's gone by himself because he wants to go in it. Don't know how he's going to get in it, but he does somehow because it's all magical. And he has a look, and then he reflects in the sphere. There he is, God's sake. Reflects in the sphere, and then kind of a goofy effect where he glides up into the sphere. And then when we come back down, when we pan back down, Harry's disappeared. And they're looking, and they're saying, hang on, what happened? I think from their point of view, he just vanished. I bet it's something like, maybe they looked away and looked back and he were gone, or whatever, but he just disappeared, and they can't explain how he disappeared. Resident Evil did it better. You're all going to die down here. The Red Queen, or whatever they're called. Anyway, no, Samuel L. Jackson says it better. We're all going to die down here, mother effer. Anyway, so he disappeared as Harry. So now he's saying that's done it now, because it just means that now we can't go back to the surface. Because they're supposed to be going back to the surface, aren't they? And so anyway, the sub is on its way down or something. I don't know, but they're saying there we go. I'm not going to lose a civilian, so we're staying down here until we get Harry back. We just screwed up our trip to the surface. So, trying to get in touch with Harry, but he's disappeared. He's in the sphere somehow. We never learn what's in the sphere. I think it was described. I think Samuel L. Jackson says, I don't know if it's in the book or what, I don't know, or in the original screenplay, that inside the sphere it's all like fireflies or something. Maybe it's just, it's incomprehensible. It's supposed to be alien, and this, it's not something from the ship. It's not something human-made. It's something they found. I give my, head canon what I think it is at the end. Anyway. Whoa, Samuel L. Jackson just in your room? What a special guest. Sarcastic bugger. I've had it with his MFing spheres on this MFing ocean floor. Yes, he should have said that, shouldn't he? Anywho, Norman's going to put on his suit and he's going to go after Harry by himself. Here he goes. So, soon gets there. Don't know how far away it is, but he soon gets there. And as he's looking, I think he sees... I think Harry just appears magically. And he's looking at the sphere. Oh, there we go. And Harry just appears by his feet. There he is, look. Just winks, not winks, but like dissolves into existence. So we don't know how. Then as he's looking... Harry sees his own reflection. I think, does it show it here? I don't know. Hang on, let's... Because they lose the camera feeds. Harry looks up at the sphere in a minute. There we go. I think he sees his reflection. Yes, he sees his own reflection in the sphere. So obviously Harry's... not Harry. Norman's going to go in the sphere now. But as that happens, all power goes down. And we see that... the habitat gets disconnected from the surface. Did it show it here? Have I gone past it? There we go. The umbilical detaches, so they're on internal power now. So they're there for the long run now while the storm's going on. There you go. We're here for the duration. Anyway, he's got Harry back, but he's asleep. And I think Ted says, is he in a coma? He says, no, he's just asleep. So he's snoozing away, doing his rapid eye movement. So, they're all curious about what happened in the sphere. They don't know that Norman went in the sphere as well. We presume he went in. Well, he did. Right, so, this spiral staircase that we see, it just reminds me of, speaking of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, it reminds me of something from, the Nautilus, with the ornate ironwork and stuff, but anyway. He's explaining what's going on. So he's taking charge. So he were in charge anyway, but he's taking ultimate command because he's the captain. The power. The next chapter. There we go. Norman's musing, and he sees a jellyfish go by. We learn later on that he hates jellyfish. They terrify him. Which is a clue about what's happening. Because as a kid, he jumped into the sea off a boat, and there were loads of jellyfish, and they all stung him. So anyway, he's Queen Teeny. What's a Queen Latifah? He is Teeny. Don't know what they call her that for. She's getting the video. All the logs and all camera feeds or whatever are all recorded on video, and she's to go and put them in the mini sub. There's a mini sub, and they've got to reset this timer for 12. Every 12 hours they have to go and reset the timer, and so that there you go. So if they don't reset it, if they all die or whatever, after 12 hours it'll automatically detach with the mini sub, and they'll at least have a partial record of what they were getting up to. Anyway, he's off for a pee now. There we go. I'm going to the head, and he leaves Ted watching the feed, and Queen Latifah, unbeknownst to her, is going to her doom. Why'd they put the mini sub so far away? I don't know. You'd think they'd have it there, wouldn't you? But I don't know. Maybe it's like an off-site thing. It's very much like that Sequest episode where they find an alien ship after a quake, people disappearing. I can't remember. I've probably seen. I think I saw all the Sequest episodes, but I don't remember. And Sequest did come out in '93. He's probably copied it. It's Michael Crichton, after all. Because the stuff he did, wasn't exactly original, was it? He did it. He took like tried and tested sci-fi tropes, put like a scientific spin on them, and he were good at that, wasn't he? But stuff he did wasn't exactly original, really. But anyway, but he was like 6'8", so I wouldn't argue with him when he were alive. Anyway, off she goes to the mini sub. There she goes. She's climbing up to reset the timer. There you go. You see her resetting it. Look. And he wakes up. Does Sam? Sorry, Harry. And then this is Edmund's. She notices the computer screen or monitor with loads of ones and zeros on. Pardon me. What's going on there? Curiously, just happens as Harry opens his eyes. Gets a bit confusing sometimes, to be completely honest. About what's going on, but we'll get there. And then it all goes back to normal. Anyway, she's heading back now. Is Teeny with lots more of these jellyfish appearing. Some of them were real. They were a combination. They filmed some jellyfish in a tank, as an aquarium or whatever. They had some like puppet jellyfish, I don't know, on strings or whatever, I don't know. But they had some puppeteer jellyfish and they had some CG ones. And they mixed them all together and it came out looking quite good. Anyway, she's walking through them saying, it's amazing, it's lovely, all these jellyfish are all lovely. Look, oh, there's got to be 1,000,000 of them. But then they start attacking her. And they had to speed them up because the jellyfish that they filmed, the real life ones, they're really slow apparently and lethargic. So they had to speed them up and make them look as though they were attacking her, because they're going to attack her in a minute. Ted's watching. He doesn't really know what to do. Doesn't know what buttons to press to talk to her. But he eventually finds it. They go, swim through them, they're harmless. But we find out that they're not. There you go, they're all wrapping round her and stinging her through her suit. And tells her to come back, but she can't. And they're getting her. And obviously they pierce the suit because the suit starts filling up with water. And I think she probably drowns, to be honest. Because we see a helmet. Oh, I forgot to say it. There we go. We see a helmet filling up with water. So... and she dies, so that's the end of Queen Latifah in this. And then all the jellyfish just all go away. Anyway, they get her back. That thing happens again with the computer thing, and then we see all these codes coming, all these numbers, like the wow message. Anyway, they've got Queen Latifah back. A bit gruesome, isn't it? She's pulling jellyfish tendrils out of her nose. And this is where Norman tells her about his childhood incident with jellyfish. That he hates them, and he says they weren't that big though. And then Beth says, "These are jellyfish. I don't know what they are, but God didn't make these. So." That's a clue, I suppose, as to what's going on. But so that's the first death. Many more to come. Well, a few more to come. And then that's it. He's awake now. Remember, he was asleep after he's going into the sphere. He's awake now, and Ted finds him. He's in the shower again, singing Bally High. They said, Harry's awake and he's really happy. Before that. Barnes calls Norman into his office, and he's got his notes from 10, 15 years ago about Beth, and that she was suicidal. She was his patient. She was suicidal, and he's saying, "Why didn't you tell me that she was suicidal?" And he says, "Well, she wasn't really. It was just a cry for help. If she really wanted to kill herself, she'd have shot herself or jumped off a bridge or whatever. She took a few tablets and then called for help." And he says, "But, you should have told me we're 1,000 feet under the sea," and all that stuff. So a bit of, interpersonal clashes, but, it's fine, I suppose. But anyway, it's basically saying, "You should have told me." So I said, "Oh, well, But then they get interrupted by Ted saying, "Harry's awake and he's hungry and he's eating eggs and bacon and stuff. And he's really happy for some reason. And being evasive about what happened." Yes, no confidentiality. He does mention, "How did you get my notes?" That's not classified, confidential information, isn't it? Doctor-patient stuff, but it's the government that can get whatever they want, can't they? They can get whatever they want, if need be. Anyway, there he is, enjoying his eggs. And, they're saying, "How did you get inside the sphere? There's no doors on it." And then he says, "Well, there's doors everywhere here, but we're not getting out." He's not answering. He's being very vague and annoying, to be honest. It's very, very annoying in this film. There you go, he didn't answer my question. Anyway, so so he's not explaining what happened. But anyway, right. So there we go. Norman microwave pings. Norman gives him some more food. Says, "Oh, onion rings. I like those." He says it's not onion rings. So he says it's calamari, which is squid, in it. Then he starts freaking out because he hates calamari. They all think he's choking. He says, "No, I'm not choking. I hate calamari." So that's another clue as to what's going to happen later. So remember, Norman hates jellyfish. Harry hates squid. Right, so alright, they're checking the computer. What's going on with this computer? So they all go and investigate. What's he talking about now? Oh yes, it's it's because Harry's being evasive. He's not answering questions, and Ted just he wants to be the one to win the Nobel Prize and all that stuff. So anyway, but there we go. Can you come and look at me computers? So they go and have a look. Oh, we got another thing coming up. Yes, the first exchange. Fresh calamari is amazing. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of seafood, to be honest. Obviously fish, regular fish, but I'm not a big fan of, like calamari or cockles and mussels, stuff like that. I'm not a big fan. But anyway, I don't mind a bit of scampi. Scampi's fine. I'm not a big fan of like prawns and shrimp, but if they're in like scampi, I'll eat that. Anyway. But I'm not a big fan of like shellfish and stuff, but regular fish. He's going to take his eye out with that bloody pencil. Aidan, my son, would be going mental if I were doing that. I've done it before when I've been drawing for him, and when he's been looking for something for me to draw, and I'm waiting, I've been fiddling with a pencil. He plays on me. Stop it! You'll hurt yourself. Anyway, so he's trying to work out what's going on here, and he thinks it's something to do with all the helium in the air that's causing it's soaking into the chips and making them do weird things. But Harry comes down and says, "No, it's not. There's a pattern here." So and he just goes like, "Da da 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 da," and then suddenly we can understand what it says. Don't know how Harry's worked it out, but well, we do because we learn. But again, why don't you just say, I don't know. But anyway. So, there you go. So this is how they've worked it out is it's to do with the QWERTY keyboard. How does, this alien consciousness from the sphere or whatever know what a QWERTY keyboard is? But that's how they're going to decipher the numbers. They're going to give each letter a number, but it's like radiating out from the centre. Is that how it's going to show it? It does it in a minute. Anyway, is that it? But anyway, there we go. So they get the first message. Hello. Hang on, there we go. How are you? Obviously not very good with grammar, this alien, because there should be a question mark there. I am fine. What is your name? So you got it right there. My name is Jerry. A little nod and a wink. So they're like, oh, right. There you go. In the 8,000 years of recorded history, this is the first contact with an alien intelligence. But then they say, he sounds like an idiot. Obviously because he doesn't know where to use question marks. Enough. But there you go. They're stupid alien. They must have them. Anyway. But then they get another message, and then I think he says, I am happy or something like that. They ask him questions. There we go. I'm pleased to be in contact with your entities. I am enjoying this much. I don't understand this bit of the film. When we learn what's going on later on, this part, I don't get it. But anyway. They ask him where he's from, and it replies, I go on a journey, you go on a journey, we go on a journey together. There we go, like that. Being all evasive. Wink, wink. And then it says, I am happy. There we go. And Norman's not happy about that. I think it goes off. And Norman says, I am happy. That makes him nervous. They say, why are you happy that Jerry's happy? He says, I'd rather he didn't have any emotions at all. But what's happening is, now we know that over there's an emotional entity that's been alone. How do they know he's alone? But they're saying he's been alone for 300 years without contact with other emotional entities, that interaction that we all need. So they said, what happens if Jerry gets mad? And then it's like that must be an insert, because it's like his demeanour. His demeanour changes This is the trailer shot, isn't it? What happens if Jerry gets mad? Stare. There we go. And then we got to look at the engines. I presume they're the engines of the ship. I don't know, because we don't get I don't know what the ship looks like. Anyway, there we go. Now then, a squid's arriving. Look, it's on the sonar, radar, whatever the hell it is. They can hear clunking. There we go, thumping on the ship. It's the squid. I'm going to get a look at it as it comes over in a minute. Anyway, there you go. They hear the sound. Is this where it's going to go? There. Ooh, look, a sea monster. They hear a noise, and it's Edmonds had gone out to do the the 12-hour thing with the mini sub, and I think that's what she'd done. And so she's outside somewhere, so they're going to go and find her. So off go Beth and Norman. There you go, they see her. She's caught up there. I think it's her boot or whatever. It's clunking on the side of the module. Same look as in Outbreak. It's kind of playing the same character, really, isn't it? Sort of. It's been Dustin Hoffman, isn't it? But yeah. Well, me. It doesn't mention in the commentary. It doesn't mention Outbreak, which came out before this, didn't it? I'm sure it did, quite a bit before this. And he says, he did this film. He's not used to doing action adventure films. And I thought, but you done Outbreak. That was an action adventure film, but he never even mentioned it. But maybe he doesn't like it. I think Outbreak's a cool film. Anyway, they go up to her, I forgot her name, Edmonds, and they see that. Here we're going to get a look at her. We see that she's not very well. There we go. It's all smashed, look, and she's all done in. And Beth freaks out and slips backwards and pulls off Edmund's boot. And we see that her foot's all... hang on. There we go. Not yet. We see that her foot's all... there we go. All mankified. And we learn that she's been pulverised. I'll get away from that. She's been basically crushed to death by giant tentacles, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't make it entirely clear. But she's been pulverised. Something's crushed her. All the bones and all that. So like, oh no, what's happened? So anyway, they've got to get back in because the giant squid's coming. Then we see Harry's reading 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Eh dear. And I think, there we go. He's reading the back out loud. Because you do just read out loud when you're by yourself, don't you? Tentacles 27 feet long, that would make a formidable monster. Just as a giant squid appears. And then all these eggs start falling down. Is this what giant squid do? I think this would be more of a colossal squid than a giant squid, but never mind. Is this what... Do they just drop eggs everywhere? I've no idea. But anyway. Let's have a quiz. I'm off. Need some sleep. See y'all soon. Great stream as always. See you next time. Yeah, see you later, Melvin. Have a nice sleep. After this, I'm not going to be sleeping. I'm back out in the back garden with my camera trying to take some more meteor photos. Or meteor. Not meat. Not photos of meat. I'll be doing that later. If it's clear. If it's not cloudy. So anyway, see you later. See you later, mate. Where were we? Oh, yes, squid. Do they just drop eggs everywhere? I don't know. Do they do that in real life? That's what they're doing here. These big giant squid eggs that it's dropping. There's lots of them as well. So anyway, they're heading back. There we go. Lots of them falling down. I think some of them are probably CG. I don't know, but they did have real ones because Samuel L. Jackson says he's got. I think he said I've got one. That he took from the set. He's got a few of them copies of that book as well, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but more of that later. But he says he's got one of these, and inside there's the little baby squid, and he says it's quite heavy. I suppose they had to be for them to drop down in the water, didn't they? But I think Dustin Hoffman or one of them said he felt sorry for the prop man. Because if for the next take, you'd have to go down, collect all these up that drop down. Take them all back up and then drop them again. But anyway. So he's doing a countdown of how close this giant squid's getting. There you go. He sees it on his sonar. Look, and he accidentally steps on one of them, and we see it's got a baby squid inside. And then suddenly it's just gone. It's gone as the squid, but the eggs are still there. But they disappear. They just vanish into thin air. Which is another clue about what's going on. But they're safe. They've got in. There you go. There's eggs everywhere, but we don't see him later. Anyway, right, he's going to go and talk to Jerry, the alien. And then he says, Peter Coyote says, Harold says, we've got to have a game plan. So then they get down, and Jerry says, what's a game plan? So he's been listening to him, has Jerry. So they say, no, so you can hear us. And he says, yes. And I genuinely don't get it. I don't understand it. With what happens later, and that we find out, what's going on. Some of this film, it confuses me. Maybe it explains it in the book. I'll have to read the book. But so he's saying, he starts getting a bit cross, does Jerry. And Norman's saying, you can't listen to us all the time. We need privacy sometimes to speak amongst ourselves. But to say no, and then we go, no. Say, use your words, Jerry. And anyway, so he's saying, he wants to talk forever. But then I think the squid comes back. I think it starts attacking. There we go. Are you afraid? The squid comes back, and Harry's still reading his book. So there you go. More of these eggs are dropping. Look, and so it starts. There's a big attack on the base. There we go. The squid's back. Saying, "Oh, it must be 40 feet long." And he says, "There's if it attacks it can damage the habitat." And he says, "Well, how can we fight against it?" And he says, "Well, there's a big lever that they can pull that can put like thousands of volts through the skin of the habitat that'll drive it away." But he says, "Every time we try that, we start fires." So they don't want to try that. But obviously, stuff's starting to happen, and in one of we're coming up to the little red gauge thing, because pressure starts dropping. So Ted has to go deal with that. There we go. Everything's shaking. So off Ted goes. Here he is, and he's got to turn this little red gauge. I am here. Ha ha ha! But then all the water's coming in. It must be cold. There you go. Increase the pressure. So you've got to increase the pressure to drive the water out, because it's filling up with water. And he's got to increase the air pressure. And Ted says, "Won't that use up our oxygen?" Says, "Yeah, but if we don't, we'll drown." So he's got to use a little red. There it is. Look, always a little red thing, isn't it? That just solves everything. So he turns it, but he turns it too much, and so. If he turns it too much, he just keeps turning, and so then he's got to turn it back the other way. But he gets knocked out. Something bashes him on his head, so Norman has to go running in. So he tells him, turn it clockwise, and Beth's there as well. And and then it's all kicking off. Stuff's blowing up. And then I think they've got a fire now. Is that? Oh no, that's later. That's later. The fire bit. There he goes, telling him to pull the high voltage defense systems. A big cling. But Beth's saying, "No, do it. You said it'll start a fire and you'll kill us all." And he said, "But what we're gonna do?" So they're all. It goes on a bit too long, does this? To be completely honest, with Harold saying that Beth's crazy, don't listen to her, pull the lever, and he's not pulling it, and it goes on too long, and then suddenly it all goes quiet. The squid disappears mysteriously. There you go, we're okay. And then Ted's there. Anybody got some Advil? But then there's a fire. Is this the bit with the fire? There we go, fire. So they've got to go up and deal with this fire. So Ted and Norman are there. There we go. And this bit here. Hang on, what bit's this? There's this bit here. That is stupid, man. He's in this room, and there we go. He puts. Let me go back again. You see, he's asleep now. We were reading his book before. Now he's gone to sleep. Baffling, what's going on. But Peter Coyote, Harold, is in his room, and suddenly the emergency door starts shutting, and he puts this case at the top of the door. Why? Why do you put it at the top of the? Why do you put it at the bottom of the door? Because you're just asking for trouble putting it at the top of the door. But never mind, because spoilers for what's coming up. But he puts this case there to stop this automatic door closing, so he can get out. There we go. Why did he put it at the bottom? Anyway, so he finishes off what he's doing in that room, and he's going to squeeze through the door here like this. But the case falls. There we go. Well, if you put it at the bottom, it wouldn't have fallen out, would it? But anyway, so Peter Coyote, there we go, gets crushed to death. That gets cut in half by the door, because it closes properly. There we go, door secured. So that's the end of Harold. There's the Nautilus spiral staircase. It just reminds me of it. There you go. They're putting fires out. There we go. Hang on. Norman gets where is he? Something happens to him. He gets knocked out or something, or knocked down, stunned. Where is it? Where is he? There he is. There we go. And a console explodes. That's it, and he gets knocked over there. There's Norman. He's all stunned. But yet he blames himself later for something that happens. He says, I didn't do this thing. And I thought, well, you couldn't do, because you're knocked out. You're all dazed. Anyway, Ted comes to the rescue with his double-barreled fire extinguishers. I'm going to show it. Hang on. There he is. There he is, with double-barrel fire extinguishers, saving the day. But then he gets knocked out. There you go, boink, with that. That lands on his head. And he gets knocked down. And then something lands on him, and he can't move. And then he looks down the room below through the grating, and all that's setting on fire. Heading for these, obviously something, flammable gas. I just noticed that. I was saying obviously something explosive. It says there, big letters, flammable gas. With another thing from the Nautilus, that little bloody peephole, what do they call it? Porthole there. What's that doing there? What's that looking out at? I don't know. There's another one there. Anyway, so all that's going to, catch on fire. So poor Ted's going to cop for it now, and he's telling Norman to get out. And there we go, all blows up. There we go. Poor Ted's getting burned to death. There we go, more stuff's blowing up. There you go. We see all this later, and it looks fine, but it's all burning there. But never mind. Then Beth arrives, and then suddenly the fire goes out. Why? Don't know. As I said, it's a bit confusing. But the fire just goes out, and so they're wondering now. They're down to, there's only 3 of them left now, isn't there? Our main cast. That's all that's left. So he's gone to speak to Jerry, and Jerry's saying, where is the control person, Harold Barnes? And he says he's dead. Beth and I put him in a body bag. And then he said, what happened to to Ted? I found him humorous. And he says, Ted's dead. He died. He said, bring him back. He says, no, that's beyond my power. There we go, I can't. And then he says, he died and I didn't do anything and I let him go. I thought you didn't, you couldn't do anything. You were like stunned, knocked out, weren't you? But never mind. And then what does it say then? And then there you go. Deal with that later time. Did you like the giant squid? So he said, do you want to see it again? He said, no, your manifestations injure our entities, and so stop doing it. If you keep doing it, there'll be no more entities left to play with. So it's like a Q, like, or a Trelane, whatever. But obviously he's saying, you can't help yourself. Then what does he say? Oh, aye. Then he says, stop calling me Jerry. So that's a clue as to about what's going on. So they've been calling him Jerry all this time. That's what's appeared on the screen. And he says, stop calling me Jerry. So what do you want? He says, what do you want me to call you, Jerry? And he keeps calling him Jerry. But and then we see he's back awake again, reading his book. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Norman sees him. There we go. He says, what happened? Didn't you know there was an attack and all these people are dead? He says, I was asleep. I was really tired. And then I found this book. I was reading that. Oh, for God's sake. There you go. Found it in the John. Says, but he could never get past page 87. Anyway, because that's the part with the giant squid. Because it was too scary for him. Anyway, he says the others are dead, and he kind of, doesn't seem really bothered about it. It's peculiar. I don't really get it, to be honest. But anyway, Beth comes in and says she's got to go to the mini-sub and do the reset. So obviously 12 hours must have passed, so she got to do the reset. And so off... Norman says he'll do it. He says, I'll do it. So off he goes. But he's talks to Beth and says, I don't trust Harry. He just slept through that whole attack. But anyway. So off he goes. There he goes, puts his suit on. Off he goes to the mini-sub, resets it, and heads back. But then I think his suit starts leaking. Something happens with his suit. There you go. Something's leaking in his suit. And he starts panicking. And then it cuts to Harry watching. And then it changes the camera. It's very suspicious. And he doesn't say anything for a while, and changes the. It's a bit like that scene in Aliens, with the bad guy in Aliens. I forgot his bloody name now. Carter Burke. And Carter Burke's watching Ripley and Newt in the med bay. When he's locked them in with the face huggers, and he turns the monitor off. I thought that was going to happen, but it doesn't. It just switches the camera angle. And then he goes on the microphone and tells him what to do. Says, go around and then you'll find the ladder. And then he was just saying it's a faulty valve. You're fine. But he's panicking. Oh, and then he gets attacked by this fish. Is it a garfish? I don't know. Something like that, isn't it? Let me look it up. It doesn't say what it's called. He calls it a sea snake, but it's obviously not, is it? No, it isn't a garfish. What do they call it then? I don't know then. What do they call it? Deep sea fish. Let's have a look. Something like that, isn't it, by the looks of it? What's that one then? Bear with me. A viper fish, similar but not quite the same. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Fish experts, let me know in the comments or the chat. Yes, a go how old methinks. It looks a bit. Yes, could be, couldn't it? We saw the Stargate earlier, didn't we? Anyway, it's attacking him, but obviously he can't do anything. But he's panicking. There you go, it's still attacking. Then it swims off. And he gets out somehow. We don't actually see how he gets out. Obviously, he's panicking, and then we just see the ladder, and then he's there. Obviously, he climbed out under his own steam because Harry's not wet, so he didn't go in after him. But anyway, then we see Beth's buggered off. There we go. She's gone in a suit. Halperin, I've seen that name in something else and I can't think what. Anyway. she's gone into the alien ship, and she says she's gone looking for food. Well, she says, he says to her, Beth, what you doing? And she says, Harry, I can't hear. Not Harry, Norman, I can't hear you. Then he says, if she can't hear, why'd she answer? And said, I went looking for food because there's no food left. I said, well, why would you go looking for food in a 300-year-old spaceship? But there you go. I was hoping for a cryogenic freezer, you know. But anyway, so it's where she's been in the sphere now, obviously. Jim's last name in the US office. Oh, right, that might. I've never seen it, but that might be where I've probably seen it somewhere, you know. But I've not actually seen the US office. I've never watched it. I've probably seen that somewhere, you know, in an article or whatever. Then yeah, so she's coming back. Right, she didn't find any food because she says there's no food. They've run out of food. And then when they get back. He's talking about explosives or something. There's some explosives or whatever. What does this say? No. That's explosives is later. 2 ingredients here. Beth, who's kind of maybe a bit mental, an underwater environment, and put them together. Got one big ass bomb, and we do literally have a big ass bomb later. Anyway, she's back, and he's telling her, you know, something happened to me and I couldn't breathe, and you weren't there. You're supposed to be watching on the monitoring. And she says, Harry came in and said he'd take over. And Harry's like, oh. Again, I don't understand what's going on. It does kind of try and explain it later, but it still doesn't make a huge amount of sense to me. But so he's saying, you know, Harry saved me. Why should I believe you? Blah blah blah. Yeah, you're being psychotic. She's saying that, you know, she went, there were no food, and they're saying there's plenty of food, and she goes and looks in these cupboards that we saw exploding earlier on. They look fine now. She goes looking in, and we see lots of food. Look, she says no, they were empty. They were empty, all the things, and they don't believe her. She says Harry hid it, and he says why would he hide it, and where would he hide it? But anyway, so nobody trusts anybody. It's like The Thing. Nobody trusts anybody. Anywho, they're saying, you know, he's psychotic. He says, well, what are you going to do? Write me a prescription, you know. So they're falling out with each other. There you go, about, you know, their past relationship. Anywho, you know, they've got to get on, haven't they? That's what they've basically got to do. So they're all suspicious of each other. There you go. Did you go in the sphere? She's saying she didn't, but we know she did. So they've all been in the sphere, these three, haven't they? So anyway, alright. And then she walks off in a hoof, and so he says, you know, you think she went in the sphere? I say yes, you know, she must have done. And then he bends, he sees the book on the floor, and he bends down to pick it up and says, oh, your book's here. You drop your book. And then he looks over and he sees Harry's reading it. There we go. Remember he said he found it in the John, and then he looks down and he's got an identical copy of it. And then something happens, I can't remember what, but he staggers backwards for some reason. I don't know why. It just bumps in. There we go. Bumps into this, and see, there's lots of copies of the book there. Suddenly, manifesting. That's the word for the rest of the film. And then he looks in these cupboards. Here we go, and they're just full of books. And Samuel L. Jackson says he's got a lot of these at home. He says so. They must have printed actually these books, the special books, just for this film, by the way. You'll see why in a minute. There he was looking, and just lots of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea books. So anyway, then Beth's taking some pills. She's one of these. I'm sorry if anybody watching does this, but it's a little bugbear of mine. It annoys me. People that take tablets like this. You don't have to do that. I hate when people do that. Does me head in. You can swallow. We have the thing called peristalsis. We're not bloody alligators or frogs where we have no swallowing mechanism or whatever you want to call it. We could just swallow. You don't have to go. It doesn't help. Just drink enough water. All work and no play. Not quite. No, not quite. It's not The Shining. Anyway, she's taking the tablets. And now then, what's happening here? He's got the book. Is he talking to Beth or is he talking to Jerry? Oh no, he's talking to Jerry. I think he's asking him about the book, and then we see that in all of the books they only go up to page 87. So you go after page 87. They're all blank pages because that's as far as Harry's read. You can't get past page 87. And the page 87 is the stingray, giant squid page. So, and it comes on again, I think. Stop calling me, Jerry. Now he's thinking, why don't it want us to call him Jerry? So he's trying to work out now the translation thing that Harry and Ted did. Do people do that in real life or just in films? I don't know, but I see it in films and it does me head in. Just swallow it. Take a big glug of water and swallow it. Speaking of which. Dear. Can you see? You can see my camera behind me. I don't know if you can make it out. I've just noticed. My camera will be taken out to the back garden later on its tripod. So I just noticed it. Where are we? You can just see it there. Anyway, whatever. So he's working it out next. Obviously, they give numerical values for each of the letters on the QWERTY keyboard in like a spiral pattern, and he's working it out. So he realises he's got it wrong. Hang on, where are we? G equals 1. He says, that's right. And then he says H, whatever. H equals 3. And says, oh, that's not right. So he works it out, what it should have said. And we're going to see it now. Is it in a minute? I think it's in a minute. What's that? What's happening here? Somebody's in a suit. Who's this? I can't really remember. It's Beth, isn't it? She's yes, she's going to set. She's arming these explosives, Panther explosives, and she says the bit there was, the Navy set him up for something or other, and she's gone and armed them for some reason. There you go, armed. And there was no female voice. I was expecting her to do it, and I expected like a female voice to go, Panther explosives armed. You have 45 minutes to reach minimum safe distance. But no, it's none of that. Anyway, so meanwhile, he works it out. What it should have said, and it should have said, I've gone too far. My name, hang on, it's not showing it, is it? I'm going to do it in a minute. She's coming back now. There we go. My name is Harry. It's Harry all along. Sort of. So they've been talking to Harry. But it turns out they've been talking to Harry's subconscious. I don't get it. But there you go. So he said, no, Harry is manifesting all this stuff. So he thinks it's just Harry that's doing all these things. It makes it real for you, makes it real for me, makes it real for everybody. Power of one, power of two, power of many. And it's because of the sphere. So the sphere has given Harry the power to manifest his subconscious thoughts. This is where my headcanon comes in. Was it created by the Krell? Is it like a spherical version of the Krell machine from Forbidden Planet? From Forbidden Planet. Except it's not 8,000 cubic miles, but never mind. It's a similar thing in it, because the Krell machine manifested all the Krell's subconscious thoughts and the monsters from the id, and that's essentially what this is doing. But it turns out it's kind of a test, I suppose, from whoever created the sphere. But anyway, so he's telling her all about the book that, he couldn't get past the page 87 because of the squid, because it was too scary. And then he went to sleep and had a dream about the squid or whatever, and all this stuff manifested. Kind of also a bit like that kid in the Twilight Zone movie. There were an episode, wasn't there, of it as well. Making things real. But he says he doesn't know he's doing it. It's all subconscious. But then why is he being all evasive and not answering questions and I don't know, and being like a baddie? But anyway. But then he says she did it. She went in the sphere, but nothing happened. And then she says, obviously I didn't go in the sphere, but we all know she did. Later on in a bit, we learn that they've all been manifesting things, and it doesn't. I don't think it says it, but I think it was Beth that manifested the fire, like subconsciously. Or maybe I don't. Yeah, I think she did, but I could be wrong. And we learn that that it was Norman that manifested the jellyfish. But anyway, they decided, but they don't know that yet. They think they're all innocent. It's all been Harry all along. So they're going to knock him out. So they're going to go check the drugs that they've got in the pharmacy, and so they find some that they can inject him with, and it'll knock him out. So basically, they gang up on him, and they're going to knock him out and put him to sleep. A dreamless sleep, it should be. Right, so anyway, they're going to get a message coming through. It will receiving transmission. It's all in code, and Norman saying, how it's a code. How we will translate it? I don't know. How are we supposed to know what it means? But then it automatically translates it. But then they learn 6 hours. Weather's cleared. Sport vessels returning. 6 hours. So 6 hours we're out of here. So they've just got to survive for another 6 hours. Meanwhile, Norman is brushing his teeth. He's always brushing his, either flossing or brushing. He's always doing his bloody teeth. And he hears a noise, and he looking under the sink, and then a bloody sea snake arrives. Here it comes. Are you ready? In a minute. There it is. And shoots up his trouser leg and scares him to death. So he's all panicking, and then there's another one. And so he's all freaking out, and then she just walks in. I don't understand, the direction or the way that they're acting. It baffles me. I don't get it. So these snakes are just attacking him, and he's freaking out, as you would. And then she just grabs them. Yeah, she just grabs them. And she says, these are, let's not go back, there you go, Belcher snakes. She just grabs them. Belcher sea snakes, the most poisonous snake in the world, Norman. But the nocturnal, so the harmless. What's that going to do with that? What do you mean, the nocturnal? The harmless during the day? What are the vampires or something? But she's just saying it really calmly. She's just holding these snakes. And he's like, the bloody snakes were getting me. What do you expect me? I'm freaking out. Anyway. And there's another passage of time. And then Beth comes on the radio, or whatever, Tannoy, and says, Norman, come up to the lab. I've something to show you. So up he goes into the lab. And then she locks him in. She closes the hatch and locks him in. And because she says, it's him that's been manifesting things. He manifested the snakes, because she says I put them in a jar, and they just disappeared in front of my eyes. So she's got another dose of the stuff that they've knocked Harry out with, and she put it in a syringe, in a hypodermic needle. Yes, I know I said it wrong. On the counter, and she says, inject yourself, and then we'll all be okay. He says, I'm not going to inject myself. There you go. I'm not going to inject myself. I don't want to. I thought, well, why don't just go to sleep, Norman? I would. I'd just sleep through it. But anyway, but he says no. So he's all been. Oh, there we go. They're showing the jars where the snakes disappeared from, and they reappear in a minute. So I don't know who's manifesting them. I don't know if it's Harry or if it's Beth. God knows. God knows. but he's saying no, so she's going to force him to. She's going to drown him, basically. She's going to fill it up with water. And, so, this is telling him, the jellyfish, you did the jellyfish, so he's responsible for Queen Latifah's death, albeit subconsciously. But, he doesn't believe it, so he's not going to knock himself out. Everything's out of the way. She's putting the pressure up in the room or whatever, or lowering the pressure, doing something, and it's all filling up with water, and for some reason the jars are smashing. I didn't go in the sphere. Yes, you did. You went in and you don't remember. But they've reappeared again. You inject yourself with the hypodermic needle. I'm going to say it again. I don't care. They say no, and then you can see the room's filling up with water. So, but he's not going to. And then he sees this hatch in the roof. And then he notices under the water there's a gas mask thing, I think, for breathing, a breather, whatever you want to call it. There, that. He sees that. So he picks that up. So he's going to go and swim to another part of the facility. But he's obviously forgetting, I didn't mention it earlier on, the chap that were giving him a briefing at the beginning, saying you could go for a swim outside if you wanted, but you'd only survive 2 minutes because the water's that cold. He's obviously forgot about that bit. But anyway, he's off, he's going, he's swimming, and he's dropped his thing, and he gets back in somewhere else, and then Beth starts freaking out. She's kind of paranoid, probably because of the drugs she's taking, maybe, I don't know. So it's all, she's going to be manifesting stuff now, so she's freaking out. Anyway, not what that said. Like I said, we die down here as a matter of deductive logic. That's what Harry said at the beginning of the film. Right, here comes Norman. He's fine, even though he should have hypothermia. But, he's fine. Then Harry wakes up. Did I say Harry before? Norman. Norman should have hypothermia. Harry wakes up. And then all water starts coming in for Beth, and she gets knocked. She finds I forgot his name now. Harold's top half of his body. I don't know what that's doing there. They said they put him in a body bag, but there you go. He's there. So she's freaking out about that. But we learn. That's it. I suppose I better try and explain it as best as I understand it. Like I said, because they've been in the sphere, they can all manifest things subconsciously. They can't control what they're manifesting. It just happens. So when they get angry, or upset, their fears and things will appear and manifest. I forgot what I'm going to say now. But sometimes the sphere will show you things that aren't real. That's what I'm trying to say. So maybe this isn't really happening because I think the water just disappears. Like I say, it looks like it's receding, but it's as though it's never been there. So, did that really happen? Don't know. Anyway, he's back in. Is Norman. You see, he's got a cut on his head. He actually really did cut his head. I think it was in the lab part. He banged his head accidentally, and did cut it open, and obviously the deal with it. So obviously the little days without an accident thing went back to 0 on that day. Anywho, what's he doing? I can't remember. He finds Beth and she's all upset. There we go, and crying. You tried to kill me, but she didn't realise I'd never hurt you. And obviously it's all subconscious, and it's the sphere that's doing all this stuff. There's Harry, who's woke up. What you up to? So they've got to decide what's going on. So they decided they're gonna go and what did you say about his head? Had his head bashed in. There you go. So the crew of the ship, even though we didn't see any others, I don't think we did anyway, went into the sphere one by one and then turned on each other, much like they're turning on each other. And they couldn't control the manifestations, that the power that the sphere gives you. All right, and then suddenly, this is I think this is is it a female voice? I can't remember. Let's have a listen.
Your attention, please, all construction personnel.
Oh, we've got to have a woman's voice, haven't we? Oh dear, I'd forgot about that. So anyway, it's gonna blow up, and it turns out Beth's activated it subconsciously. Because remember, they can't control it, except at the end, which we're gonna get to. Too bad they aren't Vulcan, yes, too bad, because they'd be able to control themselves. Anyway, explosives to blow up the coral. Yeah, it's going to blow everything up in a minute. And so they've got to get out of there. So they've got to put the suits on and head for the mini-sub. So that's what they're going to do. Right, here we go. There you go, they're putting the suits on. Let's go. Heading to the mini-sub. And I think they just get into the mini-sub, and then suddenly... So they just get in, and then suddenly, they're on the alien spaceship. What they're doing there? They say, why are we here? I don't know. It's the sphere messing with their minds. Spock would just mind meld with them all and give them the control that they need. So they realise, that it's the sphere that's messing with them and making them think that they're on the alien spaceship when they're really in the mini-sub, and all Norman needs to do is press the button to launch. So that's what he does. So there we go. They're running round the alien ship, but they're not actually there. They're in the mini-sub, and then they end up at the sphere. Look, and this is where we learn that they all went into the sphere. And then he presses the button. I can't see the button, but he does see it eventually, obviously. So he presses the button. There we go. They're off now. And there we go. It's going to blow up in a minute. There's the sphere just doing what it does. Let me get a countdown. And it's all going to blow up now. It's for blowing up coral. But, there we go. A mixture of actual explosions and CG explosions. There we go. All blows up. Look at it. What's it made of? Petrol. I mean, look, just disintegrates. The shockwave demolishes the habitat. The mini-sub's obviously made of tougher stuff, but it gets knocked about in the shockwave. And they're saying to Norman, pull up. But the mini-sub's, there we go, rotating and stuff. And I thought, you can't just pull up if if he gets disoriented and tries to pull up, they might just end up going down. So leave him be. But anyway, it comes to the surface by all these model boats. They look rubbish, don't they? You can tell it's in like a fish tank or something, a tank with some small model boats there, for false perspective. But it's like something from Thunderbirds, isn't it? Or Stingray or whatever. Or is it Skydiver surfacing in UFO, which I haven't got that t-shirt on today. But anyway, right, so they've escaped, and everything's lovely, and they've got to the surface, and now they're going to get picked up, and they're in, there we go, they're in a decompression chamber. There we go, day one. I don't know how many days they've got to wait there, but they're in there. Counting their lucky stars, and they think that the sphere's been destroyed. And something like, Roger Ramjet's coming with his navy haircut, and they're going to want to know what's happened down there. But, so there they are. 3 days, all right. So they're going to want to know what's going to happen. They can't tell anybody. Because it'll change time. If they're told what happened, it'll change time. And obviously they haven't died. They're expected. Samuel L. Jackson said they were going to die. Not enough gel in here. Yes, that's decompression, not decontamination. Oh dear. but I like your thinking. Yes. Harry said they'd die. Obviously, they haven't died. They've made it back. But they obviously can't tell anybody. But how are they going to, resist explaining what's happened? So they just decide they're going to choose to forget because they say, we've still got that power. I thought, well, but the power was to manifest things from your subconscious. Monsters from the id, basically. You didn't have any control over it, but now you're saying you have control over it, and you can just choose not to remember, or to basically erase the memory of what happened down there. I think in the book, they choose to replace the memories of what happened with, all the exciting stuff with more boring technical things. We went down, we didn't find anything, and then we came back. And it blew up. But in this one, they're choosing to erase their memories. Also in the book, I think in the original screenplay as well, it was they choose to forget, but it's suggested that Beth doesn't. She gives like a wink to the camera, like a look at the camera as though she still remembers, but that'd just mess up all the time travel stuff, wouldn't it? We'd have a paradox, wouldn't we? But anyway, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to choose. There we go. Because they've still got we still have the power. Am I right? I don't know. Are you? What power? You didn't have a power. Something had happened that made this happen, but I wouldn't call it a power. Anyway, just had the episode where Paul get accidental bonfire with flocks in the decon chamber. Oh yes, that was fun. Oh dear. They'll keep viewers on Pluto. Bloody Pluto. That's how we get on our Pluto. Let's say Mystery Science Theatre and like. Speaking of the Asylum mockbusters, lots of stuff like that on, Sci-Fi Channel originals and stuff like that. That's all that's on our Pluto. Rubbish. Anyway, speaking of the power, still got the power. Am I right? I don't know. Are you? I don't know. You couldn't control it before, but now you can. So that's what they're going to do, right? So they all hold hands, and he says, we'll count 1, 2, 3, click their heels together, so there's no place like home, and everything will be all right. So they're going to choose to forget. And as they're choosing to forget, we see that the sphere's still there at the bottom of the sea, and it's going to come rising up now, because it knows they've chosen to forget. And he's explaining that why they have to forget and why we're not ready for the sphere because it manifested the worst in us. As I said, monsters from the id. It's just Forbidden Planet, the Krell, and. So that's what they're going to do. And now, because it knows that it's failed with humanity, the sphere's heading somewhere else. So, right, get on with it. Hold hands. And then we go count to 3. I'll start. 1, 2, 3. And the sphere comes out. Look, there it goes. Looking silver for once. Then it comes out of the sea. There we go. Up into the sky. Nearly knocking Huey Lewis out of the sky. While he's singing The Power of Love. Looks a little bit. It won't be, will it? I forgot his name now. Never mind. Don't matter. I know what I mean. And then we see that chap. There we go. I forgot his name. Pickens. Is it Richard Pickens? I forgot his name already. James Pickens. He's saying, "Everyone's trying to tell me what that is. It's the sphere," but they don't know. And then they suddenly come to or whatever. They look round and say, "Why are we holding hands?" And then we go. So off it goes into space and shoots off into the Stargate or whatever. I don't know. And then it just shows them sitting about thinking, I'm sure I'm supposed to... Like me when I go to the supermarket and I'm just about to get to the checkout and I'm thinking, I'm sure I've forgotten something. Every time I go, I'm thinking, there was something else I needed. I always forget one thing when I go shopping. That's why you need shopping lists and notes and stuff, but, you know. Anyway, and there we go, that's the end. Oh, right, then it goes into the Stargate. For some reason. And then that's the end. There we go. Cool film. I like it, even though I have no idea what's going on. But I think it's the performances, you know, because it's Dustin Hoffman and basically Samuel L. Jackson. I don't give a monkey's about Sharon Stone. And Peter Coyote's pretty good in it as well. I'm not a big fan of Liev Schreiber, but in this is quite a bit like he is in what they call it. I forgot what bloody call it now. Phantoms. Although he's a bad guy in that, but a similar performance. But anyway. Who needs a list? Just raw dog-typed groceries. I always forget something. But anywho, let's check. Make sure there isn't. I don't think there's a thing at the end. I didn't watch it all the way to the end earlier on. No, there isn't. No, right, done. So there we go. That's the end of Sphere. Like I say, I like it. I like Sphere. It's not the best film ever, but it's fun. It's fun, and it's interesting. I think it's interesting. Like I say, it's basically Forbidden Planet, but on Earth. But I forgot laundry detergent. See, should have had the list. Anyway, right. So we'll leave it there. So give it a whirl anyway. Sphere, as I said, it's probably out on Blu-ray. This is my old DVD. Remember the old Warner Brothers DVDs, the cardboard sleeves with the little clip. Do they still do them? I don't know. But anywho, double feature now with Cube. So that's Sphere and Cube, and I don't know. There's a film called Triangle, isn't there? That's more of that's like a time travel horror thing, isn't it? With Melissa Gilbert. It's not bad, not bad. And Cube's pretty good as well. I think I've only seen the first one of the Cubes. There's a few other Cube films, isn't there? I think I've only seen the first one. Because it's got David Hewlett and I forgot her name. Nicole de Burrin, hasn't it? And a few other people. Anyway, but that's by the by. Right, what's coming up next? Have I got it here? No, I haven't. What's coming up next? Oh, yes, I just remembered. Friday night appointment with Fear this week is The Grudge, the American version, which I think is just as good as the Japanese one. Better in places, but I've been watching the original Japanese ones, and the film kind of takes from Ju-on the Curse and Ju-on the Grudge. But I've been rewatching them with subtitles, obviously. So that's on Friday, and I haven't decided what I'm doing next week. So we'll leave it there. This went on longer than I expected. I thought I was going to fly through this film, but I didn't did I? Anyway, so we'll leave it there. So thanks, Wingrace, and thanks, Josh Temple and Sci-Fi Quest. Do we have anybody else pop in? I don't think we did. I didn't notice. Apologies if I didn't notice you. And thanks to the millions watching at home around the world. So, we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching. Hang on. Alright. Enjoy your meteors. Oh, yes, I have to go out and do that. I'm going to leave it till a little bit later. Unless it's cloudy, I'm going to check. But I think a little bit too early last night. A twirly. I was a twirly person. A little bit too early. So, I'm going to leave it till after midnight. Yes, Dredge Tiger. Yes, he popped in as well, didn't he? Going, yo! So, yes, I'm going to go out and look at my meteors. So, that's what I'm going to do. If possible. It's supposed to be Aurora Borealis as well tonight, I think. But I better don't see it from here, because can't get a good enough view of the horizon from where I am, because I just can't. So, anyway. Right, so we'll leave it there. So, thanks for watching, wherever you are. Look after each other, and until next time, I'll see thee. Where have I put it? It's there.